I understand that you're second.
Congratulations.
I don't need to remind you of the critical nature of your...
The stranger revealing his true, fractured intent. He leans smoke curling around a tired, desperate face. She offers a grim, accepting her inevitable, twisted fate. Empty bottles clutter the evidence of a hollow life. He pours, drowning the echoes of his lost past. She a ghost trapped in the wrong, violent timeline. Their conversation turns cutting through the heavy, stagnant air. A screen broadcasting the lies of a corrupt, doomed city. He slams his glass, bracing for the coming, brutal truth. She stubs out the hands, trembling with suppressed, raw rage. The air thickens between electric with unspoken, deadly betrayals. He surrendering his mask to the shadows of the booth. She searching his eyes for a shred of human mercy. He looks anchored to a memory that refuses to die. Silence suffocates the broken only by the clock's steady rhythm. He uncovers a hidden trigger, his fingers dancing with lethal precision. She anticipating the jarring shift in her reality. He waits for the patient as a coiled, silent snake. She embracing the clinical finality of her mission. The engine roars to a funeral dirge for their future. He swerves the car toward the leaving his soul behind. The infant and innocent witness to this grand, terrible loop. She steps clutching the blanket as if holding a bomb. The phone piercing the funereal stillness of the hall. She answers the call, her voice hollow and already half dead. The room spins as she stares back. He keeps his head, hiding the ruin of his face. A sharp glance cuts through the dim tavern air. The bartender pours liquid fire into a cracked glass. Helmets clamp, sealing off the world beyond the wires. Static floods her vision as the sequence ignites. Black holes swallow everything she once knew as real. Light tears through the fabric of the dying universe. Her hands tremble while she fights the cold metal frame. They march in rhythmic steps on a polished floor. Seconds tick, mocking her failed attempt to escape. The clock freezes at the edge of madness. Shadows dance across the interrogation, concealing their jagged edges. A cuff locks, pinning her to the sterile surface. She holds her, waiting for the inevitable sting. He stands like a cold and completely unmoving. A pen strikes, recording another failure in ink. Fear pools in her eyes when the truth emerges. The examiner studies her pulse with clinical, detached precision. Her chest rises and falls in jagged, uneven patterns. The runners scream, their voices tearing through the silent facility. Pain forces a guttural sound from her throat. She hits the lost in the white void. He waits in the clutching the heavy report. She walks alone toward the house that holds nothing. She faces the trapped by his cold, rehearsed interrogation. He revealing the burden of secrets held behind clinical eyes. Fear ripples across her, though she keeps her voice steady. The interrogator leans, weaponizing his calm against her fraying nerves. She searches for a tether in his, finding only emptiness. Panic finally breaks, clouding her resolve in the sterile room. He demands, impressing down on her fragile, fractured identity. The confession dies in her, strangled by overwhelming uncertainty. Nurses drift ghosts in a theater of forgotten, stolen lives. She clutches the seeking warmth in a cold, metal world. An unexpected arrival shatters the silence of the hollow, gray corridor. They meet in the dim, two strangers, bound by blood. He confronts the questioning if his journey holds any meaning. A shadow drifts toward the hunting, a future yet unwritten. He lights a, fingers shaking as the mission takes hold. The younger man dismissing the heavy price of their task. Surgical lights flare, exposing the jagged edges of a life. She curls on the, retreating into the fortress of solitude. Lenses fog with distorting the path she must now walk. She whispers to the empty, testing if her voice remains. A mirror captures her, reflecting a resolve born of pain. She stands, shedding the last remnants of a broken past. He checks his, counting seconds until the cycle must repeat. The target unaware that his hunter waits just ahead. They toast to their drinking to a future already lost. He sits, nursing his drink and the bitter taste of betrayal. He pours, ignoring the void in his own reflection. She stares back, her eyes hard with the weight of unsaid truths. She speaks, her words sharp enough to cut through the heavy air. He, the reality of his own design, finally taking root. She doesn't, pressing him into the corner of his own trap. He tries to, but the past is a relentless, closing circle. He, the mask of composure, crumbling under her relentless questioning. He turns, desperate to outrun the shadow of his future self. She shadows his, a ghost, haunting her own living sanctuary. He lunges for the, hoping to break the sequence of fate. He stops, finding only the mechanical reality of the bar. She demands, and pulling the truth from his unwilling throat. He fumbles with the hands, shaking with the certainty of ruin. He uncovers the hidden, the physical proof of his circular life. He retreats into the, descending into the belly of the beast. She follows him down, her silhouette merging with the encroaching dark. He reaches for the dial, his future dancing at his fingertips. He twists the aligning the dates of his own creation. He realizing the man he sought was never someone else. She stands the revelation, rendering them both stone statues. He hands her the completing the grim loop of existence. He falls to his, finally accepting the cruel, locked design. He drags his heavy body, moving toward a final, singular end. He prepares to the architecture of his life, finally folding inward. The agent discards his hat into the flames. His past self raises a gun in defiance. He steps through the corridor of forgotten time. Smoke obscures the path ahead. He readies his weapon for the final confrontation. The agent confronts his younger reflection. Ethan Hawke tackles his own past. The struggle collapses into the machinery. He wrestles for control of the cycle. They fall together upon the concrete. He clutches his wounded side. Pain surges through his aging frame. The fedora burns to ash. He gasps for breath in the haze. Ethan surveys the room of his undoing. Blood stains his lips. He walks away from the dying fire. Destruction lingers on the floor. He drags his broken existence forward. Darkness hides the exit. He stumbles into the stairwell. Silence fills the hollow building. He wipes the bitter taste of death. He collapses onto the bed. Sarah Snook prepares the final revelation. He hunches over the swaddled baby. The lamp swings, casting jagged, panicked light. He grips the helpless infant with trembling hands. Static hisses from the masking, his ragged breathing. He checks his hunting for a phantom future. The traveler kneels in the anchored by his own shadow. He shields the vulnerable child from the cruel, cold wind. He climbs inside the desperate for an exit. She stands perfectly clutching secrets behind a stoic mask. He stares at the spinning his life toward catastrophe. The gears lock into sealing the doomed timeline. He waits on the park, shivering in the damp night. She approaches, her face a mirror of his deepest regret. He searches her eyes for ghosts that never left. She studies, recognizing the killer beneath the weary mask. She pulls him an embrace meant to strangle hope. He retreats into the man hunted by himself. He paces the lonely, haunted by every footstep. She levels the finger, tightening against the cold steel. He faces the finally accepting the cycle must end. He the words tasting like ash and broken promises. She watching her own salvation collapse in the dark. She lowers the realizing the war is already lost. He collapses into the abyss of his own fractured mind. She lets the silence swallow the remnants of their shared soul. He stabs the man before him. Life spills across the floor in a red, jagged mess. He wipes the blade with a trembling hand. The victim stares back with eyes that hold his own past. A cycle of blood snaps into place forever. He breathes, shuddering under the weight of his own murder. The room feels small, airless, and cold. He casting a shadow over the dying version of himself. The past screams in silence. He unable to bear the sight any longer. The choice he made seals his wretched fate. He leaves the body to rot in the grime. He walks toward a door that leads only to regrets. Steps echo against the concrete like gunshots. He catching a glimpse of a ghost in the glass. He reaches, touching nothing but cold, hard air. The truth weighs heavier than the gun in his grip. He steps outside into the biting, lonely night. The world continues as if he never existed at all. He collapses, his spirit splintering like dry wood. A future infant cries in the unburdened by time. He wipes away a bitter tear of steel. The boy haunted by the memory of a face. He curls into a shielding his heart from the dark. He remains a prisoner of a beautiful, endless lie.